Hey guys, we got a lot of stress on us. I mean, as patriots in this country, um, and then on top of that, we're having struggles trying to figure out how to do things that everybody's okay with. From my perspective, I'm gonna say what my beliefs are on this, so I can get this out there. Um, I've never thought that one single person should tell people how to do stuff in their own neighborhoods. And from the beginning, I stressed if you don't like how certain things are done over here, maybe go over to another area and do it. Because what we need is communities of people who can function together if need be, but are not captive towards what another group's doing in another area. The whole point of having other people to step in at different times has been to provide resources and guidance in things like maybe training or what areas can we focus in, how can we set our group up. If you don't know, has never meant to be, let me send a guy over there and tell you how you have to do things. Some people in our group would like that, some watchmen would like that, and I understand that perspective. It brings some cohesion in. It brings the notion of, okay, I know what to expect from this group or that group. I know how we could function together. So it has a purpose to it. But the problem is every single one of us are volunteers. Every single area has something different that they face at different times. And because of that, you have a different focus. Focus might be on self-defense in one area. It might completely be on community, politics in another. So what I've tried to make sure and do is provide resources on a website that any person can go to and kind of see how to set a group up if they want to. That's been my thought about how it should run. And when I've asked people to come in and help, that's what I've meant by that. When I ask people to direct, that's what I mean by that. And maybe I just haven't been clear enough about it. But the truth is, we do need groups of people in communities. That's the heart of what we are. And physical groups are not the only people who is in Watchmen. It's something else that we need to consider. We have small groups around the area I live in that get together all the time, whether it be for training or discussing things that need to happen in the community. That's there, but that's not the only people who are in Watchmen. There's people spread out all across the country that are part of this group and try to follow, whether it be social media or website posts, to know something they can get involved in. And it's not necessarily at a community level. It could be a state level or national level, whatever. But it's turned into a big aggravation. There's become competition over ideas. There's competition over who gets to do what. People have different personalities and needs, and it's gotten really frustrating because you may have one group saying, hey, I don't know why you're changing things, it's going great. Well, while it might be going great for one area, another area or group or people might be, looking at that completely different. I'm gonna be candid here and say, a couple of things. And again, I'll take the blame for it, for not being clear enough. But I've seen people who have spent a lot of time building in their area, and whether everybody likes them or not is not the point. They spend a lot of time building in their area. And then for somebody else to say, hey, you can't be part of Watchmen unless you let so-and-so be your leader, that's not my intention. Never has been my intention. If we have local groups of people who get together all the time and want to work in unity some way, I can see there being, a measure that taking place between those groups of, okay, who might be the person that can help coordinate us if we have to get together, and to make sure we're all on the same page. My approach to that is, if somebody don't want to be part of that, let them go do their group how they want to, as in their structure of it and how they train and what they're going to focus on. They just don't simply have to be part of, your inner circle of people that are doing it just like you want to be doing it. And there's so much of that. It's completely frustrating. I know you guys are frustrated with it, because I am. And gossip, man, I mean, I know people get frustrated with me. I'm also frustrated with other people. Again, I'll say it, we're all volunteers here. We all want the same thing. At the heart, we want to, bring some kind of balance into our communities, into our whole country, because it's just sliding so fast the other direction. I've said this before, I don't even know where the brakes are for the left, because they're just like trucking at it. We don't need each other overbearing on each other. That's already happening all across the country. It's nice if you have a group and you're welcoming into other people. Let them come see how you do it, or even have some discussion with you about how you do it. But that other group don't have to copycat you. It just don't have to be that way. There's lots of stuff we can tackle together without being, completely on the same page with how we do things or how we focus. So this is why I've backed off of the idea of there being a community director, a county-wide director, a state director, because it went from, hoping, maybe I used the wrong terms when I even tried to do that. Because really what was supposed to happen was coordination, guidance, providing resources and that sort of thing. But it just has turned into something far different than that. And it's disheartening to me, Everybody brings their personality in. Everybody is trying to function based on how they know to function. But we're trying to do it in the context of this group. I don't want everything done my way. My whole direction of this thing from the get-go has been, let groups function independently and interdependently as well, meaning you can utilize each other if you need to. Every group has a personality to it. Every group is extremely valuable. Every person in this movement is valuable and important. I don't think one's more, important than the other. And everybody's not in these physical groups. The physical groups are a small portion of what we have going on as a movement, and that's going to have to be recognized. So you guys who do want, groups that can function together or identical, you need to figure out how to make that happen, and find out if people even want to join in on that. That's not something I'm going to push or force on anybody. That's not been my plan, and I think it's something other than a movement, a grassroots movement, to do it that way. But if you have groups of people who want to do it, you guys vote in and figure out how to do that. But the minute you start putting people in leadership spots over total areas, understand that your group might not be the only group in that area. I'll say this, for example, just say it's Concord. If there's a group in Concord that wants to function a certain way, and they want to function just like this other group over in Kannapolis, and they want to join together for certain things, we'll go do that. But there may be another group in Concord that don't function like you. There may be another group, but maybe they join in on certain things that, where numbers showing up might be a good thing, or petitions being signed. But you don't need people nursing other people or telling them what they have to do for that kind of thing to happen. I apologize for not holding a course. But on the other hand, I also tried to implement some things to try it in a different way, to take some suggestions from people. When I said there could be leaders down below to do certain things, I'm not saying, hey, they can just go do whatever. I wasn't saying that. The whole thing was just be a guide. And that's it. We already had things kind of laid out. What ended up happening is everybody at every level trying to redo structure. Everybody at every level trying to make subgroups, make different types of groups. If that's what it's going to be anyway, you can't necessarily have a person over top of that because it's diverse. I mean, it's different all across the board. So, what's valuable to me is this mission. The valuable thing to me is also that people have made connections with each other. People have went into community groups and, basically become, small families and spending time together, learning things together. And I think that's a beautiful thing to be happening. But it's not what everybody's doing. And not even everybody wants that. I mean, we have the same mission, but we're a diverse group of people, Not all of us are Republican. Not all of us are Democrat. Not all of us are independent. Not all of us are churchgoers. I mean, on and on. I'm just saying, some of us have this idea, well, I just want to be around my type of people. Well, what about the rest of the crowd, Not everybody wants to be military. Not everybody wants to be political. Not everybody wants to do community outreach. That kind of thing should be available, and we have resources for it on the website already. So it's something that can be done. I'm just saying we've put a lot of pressure on each other for us all to do it the exact same way. And I don't think it's, I don't think that's fair. I'm glad that people are doing it different ways. I'm glad that people have their own home groups, physical groups. I'm glad that we have social media following. I'm glad that we have people on the website following. And numbers are scattering. Now, I've heard that mentioned. When we started, people were scared to death that somebody was going to hurt them. We had tons of people ready to arm up and do what they needed to do. As soon as the physical threat stopped, people stopped really communicating. And then it became political. It became, okay, now we got to worry about the vote and who's voting and what's going to happen when so and so's elected or not elected. It turned into something else. Again, go back to the thing of some people are saying it was going good. Well, at the same time, other people are going, no, this sucks. This ain't going good. And vice versa. So, your way looking good might have been, a nightmare for somebody else. The problem with a lot of us here is we do not have empathy on what it looks like from the other side. And we're not looking at this in a large enough picture. Some of you guys are looking at it. If we're going to do anything, all of us is going to have to put aside those personal desires, the personalities, even our dysfunctions. Some of us are codependent people that want to feel needed and are going to, go and try to do stuff, to provide for other people. That's a personal thing. It's not always needed. Some of us are going to try to be Mr. Command or Miss Command, Not everybody wants to follow everything somebody else is saying. The best thing we can do for each other is to provide resources. Now, if you're a group that likes to do firearm training, reach out to other people, unless you just don't want them around, You got that. We have a lot of forms and documents that can be used for, political stuff and even, community outreach stuff like charity. That's all on our website. I mean, I came up here today, just looking around at nature and remembering what it's like to just kind of live, at peace and at ease. And most of us are struggling with that right now, not just because of the country, but because of what's happened to our group. But this has been happening, you guys. This thing started crumbling up months and months and months back. Honestly, I gave instructions on certain things and they got ignored. Certain things I, suggested to do based on what the outcome would be if it was done different than that. I mean, even with the communication, seriously, 10,000 text groups, nobody knows where to look. And I have a communication app with where I work. I can't talk about personal stuff on there. It has to do with company stuff only, unless we have, some kind of social butterfly chat you can put to the side, which is fine. I'm just saying, and then on the website, I have narrowed focus before on chats. The reason being because sometimes stuff gets taken so far out to the left or to the right that you can't focus on doing anything. So I'll cut chat off so people can get busy doing something that's going to be effective. That simply got to do with effectiveness, nothing else. I hope people will put their events on our website. That way other people can see them if you want people joining in. Provide some resources that other members can see. Not everybody's going to belong to your small group. Not everybody's going to belong in your state. And not everybody's going to pay attention to the stuff that you want them to pay attention to. But if we're going to be a movement that has any kind of impact whatsoever, it's going to take more than what's been being done and in the way that it's been being presented. Commander, boss man, just don't work with volunteers. You can give a roadmap, and that's all I've ever really want to be able to give is to provide some roadmaps, provide some examples of how it can be done or what can be done, and then make a place where people can connect and join together, for certain causes and utilize those numbers. I don't know. Just wanted to reach out and let you guys know where I'm at with that. That's the reasoning behind it. And I'm gonna say this because it's a fact. I've heard stories of why something happened or who told who to do what. It's completely BS. Pay attention to who you're listening to. I know there's certain people you think you can trust with everything, but I'm gonna tell you, I've watched and listened to people that I would assume I could trust, and some of the stuff that comes out of their mouth in other areas, it's a little bit different than what reality is. So be aware of that and watch out for those just simply trying to be top dog of everything. What we need is people to be resource givers, guides where people need it, not boss man or micromanagement people as it pertains to group development. I hope we can move that direction. If not, that website's going to be there anyway, and for you guys who want to be able to help like that, please do. You're deeply appreciated. There's people all across the country that appreciate you for giving them something they can use to help build the things they're trying to build. If you need to holler at me ever, holler at me on the website. It's fine. I'm backing out of that, trying to push everybody to do things a certain way. But as watchmen in general, we do have to go by the mission if we say we're watchmen. We do have to have some core values that are, not aggressors, not racist, not trying to overtake anything, but try to find balance. That's what we are as a movement. That's what will keep it clean, not sticking to the mission. And are they sticking to the core values and allowing people to be people, in their own way and in their own groups? That's the hope for me. You guys take care. I will talk to you again soon.